Hey guys, it's Danny. Today we're gonna make an update on those orchids who are actually performing great, and pretty much they're the ones that I don't really show in my videos. I think one of them never received an update, at least one of them. And this is because, well, there's nothing to fix with them. I'm just waiting for some blooms. But I do want to get them out, check them out, and make a journal update so I have a comparison point sometime in the future. Alrighty, surprise, surprise, most of them are warm growers. No surprise there, they do enjoy this climate. So let's get to the working table and take a look at them. So the first one we're gonna take a look at is the Laelia. Now it has been reclassified to Cattleya purpurata crossed with Purpurata variety Semialba. Not sure how she's supposed to look like, but I do love the Semialba. Now I purchased this one last summer from eBay from my current favorite seller, which is Catasetum 2, and ever since then she has been doing quite nicely. Now this is the one that has been the main subject of the root burn due to the fertilizer last year. So I did make a few videos on it, but not assessing her well-being. So when I received this orchid, I only had this portion of the plant. And then in my care I created this pseudobulb, which was considerably tinier, as you can see, and now she's working on this one, which is turning out to be quite large. It is still a juvenile growth, as you can see. However, judging by how it looks like, it's gonna be as tall as the other ones. So this one has real chances to bloom pretty early, so I don't see a sheath. Really hope it's gonna bloom, but I don't know. She has been thriving really. Ever since I switched fertilizer, I didn't have any more root burn. Let me show you, the roots grew down the pot, and now this new growth is working on a brand new set of roots. And actually some roots came out of the pot down there. Also the medium started to have a mountain-like shape, which means roots are growing inside the pot. So there we go, we have some good stuff as well. But this is a Cattleya, she's not really that sensitive. Now I do plan on doing the switch with these orchids as well, simply to make my life a little easier, but I'm in no rush. However, since this orchid is creating brand new roots, it would be a great opportunity to repot her. I'm not going to damage many roots anyway, but since these roots are growing, you know, it is that good time. Currently, this orchid is residing in my IKEA stand. She's receiving quite a lot of bright light. And although this orchid does not have freckles on her leaves, I do see a few freckles. This is only due to bright light. So this is nothing to worry about. The freckles are kind of purplish in color, but as you can see, no real damage. So this orchid really handles bright light and actually really enjoys bright light quite a lot. So yeah, with this one, I am contemplating if I should rush the move to the new pot or not. But yeah, for all intents and purposes, she's been doing quite nicely. And let's just hope it will create a bloom this year. Okay, another orchid that has been thriving is the Kirchara Jairak Kiss Spot Lip. I purchased this one about 2 years ago, and in my care it did evolve from one pseudobulb to another, but ever since I purchased it, and when I did, this was the existing part of the plant. It produced this pretty lame little cane, and then it produced this one that actually matured in this climate, and now it produced this one, which actually has buds, and I'm gonna show you a close-up. So ever since I purchased it, it did recover from transport and stress, but pretty slow. Given the new environment, which is very sunny, very warm, this one has just taken off, and there are quite a lot of roots. I tried to place this back in the pot, and I cannot because there are roots on the side of the pot. Now with this one, of course, I'm gonna wait to do the switcheroo. It's not imperative that I switch it now. I don't have many issues with this one from the desiccating point of view. And also she has some buds. Let me just give you a close-up. There you go, the sheath is already starting to split, and this one should look spectacular. Not expecting any fragrance, but the flowers are really beautiful. Now she kind of looks like a Brassavola, right? Well, it's not a Brassavola cross. It is a Cattleya type orchid indeed, but in her parentage there are all sorts of Cattleyas, some epidendrums, no Brassavola. So yeah, looks can be deceiving. This is not a Brassavola hybrid. Flower-wise, it does look like a Brassavola once again, but it's not. But as far as I know, Kircharas are not scented orchids. Being that they are not very popular hybrids, they might be new. I'm not sure. If I find a fragrance, I'll be the first one to tell you. Next orchid that has flourished the past year is the Cattleya leopoldi, and sadly I managed to destroy a root tip right here. Yeah, part of the game, but I still hate when it happens. Alrighty, so this orchid has been in my care for quite a few years again, but never has it done so great, actually. So the new growths are on this side. This is the newest growth, actually, and there's quite a lot of sap on this orchid. This actually produces a lot of sap. You know, there are those orchids which are so sticky. Yeah, look at this. It's full of sap. That just means it's getting hydration, so that's good. So when this orchid matures a growth, it has some freckles on it. They develop in very bright light, and being that it's a Cattleya, it does receive quite a lot of bright light, I think the brightest in my greenhouse. So these freckles are nothing to worry about. If you check out the flower of this orchid, you'll see it's quite purple. Sometimes very purple Cattleyas can have freckles as well, or spotted Cattleyas. It's not a general strict rule, but it's kinda a sort of shared trait. So these freckles, nothing to worry about. In time, they kinda disappear. As you can see, my orchid really doesn't have any freckles. And if you check one of my older videos on it, I just don't remember when I posted it 2 years ago. I don't know. The new growth was really spotted as well. It became green after a while, so this is nothing to worry about. This is the other new growth, which is not bifoliate. This is the growth that matured right after we moved here. So it has been through some stress. But this actually comes from a very, very tiny portion of the plant. This is the mother pseudobulb, as you can see. Look how tiny it is. So it had two directions of growth. One came from a seedling part of the orchid, because this was a young orchid when I purchased it. And the other one is the main growth direction, but things are pretty mangled here. This being an older growth than this one, it is already starting to push out another growth that is kind of affected by this tiny seedling growth that is positioned rather weird, so I might just cut this off. It's perfectly safe to cut seedling growths from orchids as long as you put some cinnamon and try to maintain the area dry. So as you can see, I have a new growth here. I just discovered it. This one was actually sitting on top of it, and I kind of pushed it, broke it a little to give this new growth more space. This is not the future of the orchid. It doesn't even have viable roots anymore, so no worries, I will cut this. But this is the future of the orchid. This is what I'm interested in. So for all intents and purposes, this orchid has always done great. It just wasn't bloom size when I purchased it. And in my older environment, she did okay, but not spectacular. Ever since we came here, everything is going pretty great. And if I stop messing up her roots, I might just have some blooms pretty soon from this one. Another orchid that has been doing great, yet another Cattleya, is the Cattleya mosiae. This is a species, just like the other one. With this one, again, I'm trying to do the U-turn thing because I don't know what the heck was in my mind. The new growth is really close to the edge, so now I'm providing light from this side, and as you can see, the new growth is starting to take the turn. So that's good, but yet again, this one will need to be repotted, but I will do it when the new roots start to grow. With this orchid, the new roots start to grow after the pseudobulb is mature. So if I want to do a proper repot and follow the books, I will need to wait for this one to mature. Now this orchid has a sheath right there. It has it from last year, and as I know, this orchid is a spring bloomer. The fact that it created a new growth, I don't know what it means. I'm not sure if that sheath will bloom or anything. It's not dry. It looks that way, but it's not. It's actually pretty red and pretty freckled, but this pseudobulb is looking quite great. It has a decent size to it. This orchid is not tall, so it's not like the purpurata. I'm not expecting more than this actually, but I think it looks quite decent. She has been doing quite well in this climate. Again, one of those that has pretty good root systems. They're not fragile, they don't get desiccation issues, so I could very well leave this orchid alone, but too much work. Too much work. Anyway, so the mosiae is a spring bloomer, as I was saying, and it produces humongous flowers compared to the size of the orchid. When I purchased this orchid about 2 years ago, yet again, it was a young orchid. I didn't purchase it as an adult necessarily. This orchid produces one new pseudobulb per year per direction of growth for me. If it had 2 directions of growth, it would be even better, but who knows, we'll see what happens in the future. So I would call this a decent orchid, decent results, and we'll see about those blooms. Alrighty, here we have an Encyclia. This is Encyclia brassavola. I purchased it from eBay, when? A year ago? A year and a half ago? 2 years? Sometime in the past. It's not the fastest grower, but she is doing really well. This is the new pseudobulb that is growing right here, and it has 3 leaves. It's the first time this orchid produces 3 leaves from me, which is good. So I'm guessing this pseudobulb will be quite the large pseudobulb. It has another direction of growth here. It had that pseudobulb, it created this meager pseudobulb in my care, and then the new one from this year looks quite big. So it has 2 directions of growth. I'm pretty happy with that. More blooms. Now this is one of the orchids that does have the damage. As you can see, the new roots stop. I'm not happy about that, so she will definitely go through the switch. But inside the pot, luckily there were roots, and she branched out, and she is She's quite sturdy in the pot. I have no doubt everything is okay in the pot, but yeah, you know, I don't like not perfect things. Even so, this orchid managed to do pretty great. And the fact that this pseudobulb has 3 leaves, I don't know, maybe it means it has the potential to flower, which would be great because I have 2 orchids that I really want to see in bloom. This is one of them. The other one is the Encyclia prismatocarpa, which has a little issue right now. The new pseudobulb got a little bit mangled. She's suffering from dehydration, desiccation thing as well. Both of these orchids do enjoy moisture more than Cattleyas, I would say. So you can see a pattern here. The orchids that don't like to dry out, they have been more affected by the issue, and the Cattleyas pretty much not at all. But luckily for me, this orchid did quite well, and hopefully we'll see a bloom this year. Okay, next one, you will not believe who this is. This is the RLC King Hard crossed with Callia intermedia. This is one of the ICU orchids, and if you rewind a little bit to this time last year, you will see that I received quite a few orchids from Ana Maria that did not have roots. They were divisions or back divisions, and we kept them into the ICU, tried to care for them as best as we could. Some of them we lost, but some of them we still have, and a few are thriving. This is one of them. It might not look like much, but let me explain. When I received it, it only had these 2 pseudobulbs and no roots. And this orchid had a direction of growth here, which did not exist anymore. So I was pondering if this orchid actually has any more available eyes. So what this orchid did was to create this little pseudobulb here, as you can see, very tiny, very small. But then, look what happened. Look at this one. That is pretty incredible. I don't even mind the fact that she didn't make a sheath or she didn't bloom. Considering how she looked like, this is unbelievable. She recovered spectacular. I have a lot of roots in the pot right now. You see that? She's a very sturdy orchid. This pseudobulb is even quite a little bit plump, as you can see. I just need to remove this sheath, but the leaf is large, pretty much the same size as the older leaf, almost, let's say 1 centimeter smaller, but considering everything, absolutely fantastic growth. Can you believe that? And everything in 1 year, actually. It produced 2 pseudobulbs in 1 year, which is good. She doesn't have a slow growth pattern, at least until now. Maybe when she gets into her normal rhythm of producing bigger pseudobulbs, she might create 1 pseudobulb per year. I don't know just yet. Alrighty, these 2. These are my Encyclia cardigeras. I have 2 of them because one is older than the other, and it was actually tagged as something else. I'm missing the name. It wasn't titled as Encyclia. So in any way, there is such variety with the cardigera that I might have a different looking orchid, which is what I want. This one is not very purple. I'll link it down below to when I had it in bloom so you can see it doesn't have that bright purple lip. It has quite a lot of white in it, so maybe this one will be a little different. Now, they don't necessarily look the greatest, I'll give them that, but considering what they've been through, oh my god, poor babies. So this is the oldest one. I have it for 3.5 years already, I believe. What I did with this one is plant it in the Orchid Focus mix, which happened to induce a serious fungal infection with many orchids. I lost a lot of them. I think I lost, making a total about 15-20 orchids to that potting medium. That is my first suspicion anyway. This one had severe spotting on the leaves, and all of the leaves this orchid has, or actually had, have fallen off prematurely. But now she is finally pulling through, as you can see. Not yet in tip-top condition, but I'm proud of her. And this is my recent one because I thought I would lose the other one due to the infection, but I didn't. So this one again doesn't look spectacular, but I had major burn issues with this one. When I made the videos last year, this was one of the subjects we looked at. Ever since I switched the fertilizer, I had no more burn issues, not even desiccation issues, because these orchids are potted in quite a large pot that happens to stay quite moist. So now they are plumping back the older pseudobulbs. As you can see, that one, which is really big and nice, it was the pseudobulb it came with. It was really shriveled. It looked like a leaf, but now he's returning to normal. And I think, I'm not sure, but I think I see buds or actually a sheath here. Not sure if it's gonna bloom. There is something in here, and this one has something inside as well, if you take a look. But this one is a tinier growth than the other one. Who knows, it might bloom. I would be happy if it does. I'm not gonna be sad if it doesn't, considering its history. She's bouncing back quite nicely. And by the way, this leaf I'm pretty much just waiting for it to dry out so I can remove it without having to cut it. I don't like to cut stuff because there's always a chance of further infections that can spread. I do get it, it looks unsightly, but in a few days it's gonna be completely dry, I can remove it, and that's that. And pretty much this is it on the Camellia type orchids update. I do have a few others, but this video would be quite long. It's not always apocalypse now in my greenhouse. I just don't focus on the good stuff because there's nothing to do, right? Just enjoy the blooms. So anyway, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed this. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you hated it, give it a thumbs down. Subscribe to my channel for daily orchids and plants videos. Or should I say almost daily, because I've been skipping out lately on a few days. Sorry about that. But you can always just turn on notifications so you never miss a video. And with that said, I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye! Let's make a little update on the Dendrobium anosmum hybrid, because we didn't see him in a lot of time, and excuse that mess over there. Ever wonder why my hands are just so full of scratches and wounds and stuff? Well, that's because I work. There you go. Anyway, so this orchid has been growing this summer quite okay. Not the longest canes ever, obviously, but I'm pretty happy with that. Lately, though, I discovered some nubbins, and one of them is right here. Let me give you a profile. Do you see it? And it has one more here, and it does have quite a few nubbins. Now, this orchid didn't really stop growing just yet. It might pretty soon, but it's already shedding some of its leaves, so I think she's going into rest pretty soon. She's residing outside right now. Temperatures return to normal, so I get 8, 9, 10 degrees during nighttime, which should be just perfect for the rest this orchid needs. And if I manage to get some blooms, well, that will be spectacular because this orchid smells really nice.